Welcome to week 3 of the smartphone round robin. This is Casey Chan from Android Central, and we have the BlackBerry Bold in the house. The BlackBerry Bold may very well be the best BlackBerry ever. So if you're a BlackBerry fan, this is your device. But if you're not coming from BlackBerry, if you're coming from like Android, there's a lot to get used to. Let's take a look at the hardware first. There's a BlackBerry sign, of course, and the BlackBerry button, which basically is the button that rules them all. On the left side of the device, there's a 3.5mm headphone jack, mini USB, a left convenience key, and a micro SD slot. On the right side, there's a oddly placed right convenience key and a volume up and volume down toggle switch. On the top side of the device, there's a ringer silent switch that also doubles as a standby key. The keyboard works as well as any other keyboard. You're not going to find any complaints here. The camera, however, is a little unspectacular. There is flash though. The leather backing is passable. I mean, some people aren't going to like it. I personally think it's okay. Navigating the Bold is done via the trackball. It's similar to the G1 experience, but there's no touchscreen, so it's a little more roundabout way of accessing applications. As you may well know, the screen in the Bold is supposed to be the killer feature. I originally didn't think a screen could be a killer feature until I saw the Bold screen. It is amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, run to the nearest AT&T store and find the BlackBerry Bold and just play this sample video. It's the most colorful, the most crisp, the most vibrant. I mean, just look at that. I'm really impressed by the screen, and I hope and I pray that Android will get a screen this good. I mean, this is the new benchmark, bar none. Aside from loving the screen, there's plenty to like about BlackBerry. You have basically your push email, of course, applications such as Word2Go, Sheet2Go, Slideshow2Go, where you can make and edit documents. WordMole, it's a really fun game actually. And then I used Google Sync to sync over my Google contacts and calendar and all that information to the BlackBerry. It was a painless experience. Since we have a white T-Mobile G1 around at the Android Central headquarters, why not do a comparison, I thought. As you can see, the white G1, as good as it looks, it just doesn't hold a candle to the BlackBerry Bold. The BlackBerry Bold feels a lot more luxurious. It feels definitely more high-end. The scroll wheel trackball feels exactly the same. There's not a discernible difference. One thing the G1 has in its favor is the touchscreen. The touchscreen and the trackball combination makes so much more sense than just the trackball. But overall, I'm a pretty big fan of the Bold's hardware. I mean, it feels great in your hand. The keyboard works fine. Everything just feels solid. The only thing I could really fault the Bold's hardware for is just not having a touchscreen. The screen is so clear, you just want to touch it, and when you touch it, it doesn't do anything. And not having a touchscreen, it's kind of behind the times in today's smartphone world. And if I were to be nitpicky, the Bold's just a little bit wide. Comparing it to the G1's a lot easier to grip, while the Bold it wasn't really a problem for me, but you can see it being a problem for a lot of users. But in all, the Bold's hardware is great. You really can't deny it. So let's take a look at the software. The BlackBerry OS has gotten a facelift for the Bold, and well, though it looks modern, it looks a little less efficient. I mean, it's hard to differentiate the icons. It's just a bunch of circles, squares, and shapes now. Let's fire up a game, and what's a BlackBerry without Brick Breaker, right? I never really understood the Brick Breaker craze. I mean, it's an okay game. You can kill time with it, but on the Bold it looks a little bit better. The screen can probably handle more. The animations are a little bit better, but the physics are just as accurate. What I really want to tell you about is the next game that I'm gonna play, WordMole. It's a letter-based puzzle game. You just find a word in a grid. This is where I think a BlackBerry would need a touchscreen. You know, you're limited by the trackball. I mean, it's just a game, but it proves that a trackball is inefficient. And to me, the icons look the same to me on first glance. But let's fire up the browser. The browser renders everything pretty accurately. I'm not going to have any complaints on its ability to. we could fire up Android Central to see how it looks. But I do have a problem with navigating because it's only done by the trackball. As you can see, Crackberry Kevin's thoughts on the T-Mobile G1. I hope he was as nice as I am on the Bold. But because everything is done via the trackball, it's a little harder to differentiate. Sometimes you can zoom with the trackball, but sometimes you can copy text. It's a little complicated. You gotta find it. It's a little time consuming, and I wish there really was a touchscreen so you can just easily scroll up. I've been using the page up and page down with the space bar to navigate and read. It's okay. The browser works, but I just wish there's a better navigational tool, if you can understand me. What I do love about the browser is that the keyboard shortcuts, I just press B to go to the bottom of the page and T to go to the top of the page. You can also go back and refresh and all that good stuff with just keyboards. It's a good browser. I mean, it renders everything accurately, but I do think it trails the G1 just because the G1's a lot more usable. I have run into some certificate issues, but I'm just going to chalk that up as something that I'm doing wrong. And since I'm a huge fan of the screen, I gotta show you another sample video. This one of Speed Racer. Speed Racer, I heard, was the worst movie ever, but on the BlackBerry Bold screen, it looks like the best movie ever. And that might not be an exaggeration. I mean, colors just pop off the screen. It's just a really great screen. I hope, I hope it comes to Android or something to this effect. If it was a touchscreen and this quality of a screen in one, it would really be a killer device. As you can tell, I'm a pretty big fan of the BlackBerry Bold. I mean, the hardware is top notch. I mean, you can't argue that. And the screen is gorgeous. Everything feels great in your hand too. But at the same time, there's a lot more to get into because the BlackBerry ecosystem, I guess, isn't the most friendly for a user who's so used to openness. Coming from Android and then moving to BlackBerry for a week, it's just really a tale of two worlds. I'll get into it more in my full review on why I don't think the BlackBerry way is necessarily the way to go. So stay tuned to Android Central for the full review of the BlackBerry Bold.